Today I'm going to share with you my skincare routine. I am going to go through my AM routine, really from when I wake up. You're going to see me looking my absolute best, all the way through my AM routine. Now, all of the things that I am using are not necessary. I pick things for my skin concerns. So what are my skin concerns? I am dry and dehydrated. I'm almost 51 years old. I'll be 51 in a couple months. I have hyperpigmentation. I have collected sun damage over the course of my life because I am a fair-skinned person, Irish descent. I collect freckles and sunspots. That is, my deal. And I have had melasma exacerbated by hormones like getting pregnant and that kind of thing. That has been a challenge ever since. So that's kind of one of my big things. So a focus of mine, the targeted treatments that I do, have a lot to do with sun damage, fixing sun damage, working on hyperpigmentation, working on skin clarity, and hydration and moisture. So you will see that in my routine. I get up very early. I usually get up between 4 o'clock in the morning and 5:30. So it gives me a lot more time to do whatever I want in the morning before kids get up, the whole thing. So I wake up in the morning and first thing I do is I go downstairs and I make myself a cup of coffee and I mix up a collagen and creatine drink. And for me, I do that right then. It is just a habit. And what that does for me is I love my coffee. I love my coffee in the morning, okay? And people can debate whether that's good or not, but I love it. But the collagen and creatine is just important because by making it a habit at that point, I put it in the fridge, I let it get cold, and then after I've had a cup of coffee, I drink that for the next, hour or two. And then I know I have gotten those things into my diet. I lift weights and I lift heavy. And so I want creatine. It's good for your brain. It is good for your muscles. And the collagen peptides are just non-negotiable for me. Now, sometimes I will put collagen peptides into my coffee. I make coffee with I make a frou-frou coffee in the morning with skim milk frothed into espresso. So sometimes when I make a cappuccino like that, putting the collagen peptides into the coffee is harder than when I just make myself an Americano because there's no foam on that. So I just pick one of those two things. I either put some collagen peptides into my coffee or I don't. I still make the lemonade version with the creatine because that's hydration and that is for my skin, it's for my bones, and it's also for my muscles and my brain. So that's what I start out with. Now, as soon as I make my coffee and I make my collagen drink, put my collagen drink into the refrigerator, I put on, before I even start drinking my coffee, I put on some cysteamine. That is the Urban Skin RX, or I have Sente, it's Cispera, it's just cysteamine. Now, I was doing this for a really long time. I've been doing this for quite a while. I have a video on cysteamine if you want to check it out. It is a pigment inhibitor. You put it on as a mask and you leave it on for 20 minutes. Sometimes I leave it on longer. It just depends on how the morning is going. But I'm only doing this 3 days a week now, maybe 4 sometimes. And honestly, it's kind of willy-nilly at this point. It's if I remember, if I don't, but I put it on at this point. If I'm going to do cysteamine that day, this is when I do it. And the reason for that is my skin is dry. You don't want to use cysteamine on skin that has been wet anytime within an hour because it will irritate your skin. Doesn't matter how hardy your skin is. If your skin is wet and you put cysteamine on it even 20 minutes later, it will irritate your skin. It's crazy. So this is when I can do the cysteamine because my skin is completely dry. I haven't done anything to it. It was overnight. I find that I get the least irritation. And then I let it sit for that 20 minutes or so while I'm drinking my coffee. I do a very, very thin layer of cysteamine. It's not like a mask, heavy, thick or anything like that. And then I drink my coffee, read the news, research stuff. I just chill for a little while, right? Okay, so after I am done basically with my cup of coffee, usually it's been about the amount of time, that is when I remove the cysteamine. Now, if I am wanting to do zip or an LED treatment, this is often when I will do that. Okay, so when I do move on with my skincare routine in the morning, this is what I do. Now I've cleansed my skin, cystamine's off, cleansed my skin. I've done any kind of device treatment that I want to do. That is done. Then skin is cleansed because if I do zip, I cleanse off the conductivity gel. Okay, barefaced again. This is when I do an acid toner. I do the lotion P50. I do the P50 V1970. That's the one that I do. It is this guy, and you can see this one is like down to, it's almost gone. I already have my backup. I love this so much. This is an alpha hydroxy acid exfoliant. It's a chemical exfoliant. I do this several days a week, and I kind of just listen to my skin. There are definitely days when I skip this, but most days I am doing this, and I find that it really just leaves my skin glowing. It helps with the texture, it smooths my skin, it helps to lift off pigment off the surface of my skin, and it really just helps with cellular turnover and really helps with that glow and the texture of my skin. It is truly like nothing else. And I have tried other acid toners. There are others. People will ask, is there a dupe? I don't think there's an actual dupe of P50, but if you want something similar that is more affordable, I would say the Tarte Knockout, the Tingle Knockout. It's similar. It's an alternative. It is not a dupe, but it is an alternative, and it is more affordable. So there is that. There are plenty of other acid exfoliants that come in like a toner form. So, you know, plenty. I mean, there are some that are super inexpensive. Like I have shared before, Minimalist has a fantastic chemical exfoliant that's like 10 bucks. That is great as well. I still prefer the P50, but it's expensive. This is when the routine simply goes thinnest to thickest. That is how I still kind of manage my routine. So the next thing that I do is essences. So right now I am doing the Boom Boom Milk from Violet FR. Now here's the thing with this. This is a brand new one because I shared this in my favorites video and I was traveling and they lost my bag, and they lost my bag with all my skincare in it. British Airways is hopefully delivering my suitcase soon. They said they tracked it. It still wasn't in this country. I don't know, but let me tell you, I took 2 suitcases, and what are the odds that the suitcase that they lost is the one with all of the European sunscreens that I bought, and all of my skincare was in there. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Anyway, I had actually ordered a backup of the Boom Boom Milk. It is a milky essence that is super hydrating. Why is it hydrating? Because it has birch sap in here. I'm gonna do kind of a deep dive on birch sap, but you guys, it is packed with amino acids and sugar. It has like xylitol or something in it naturally, and so it's extremely hydrating, but it does not leave the skin greasy. In fact, I was looking through the reviews on the Violet FR website, and lots of people commented that they have oily skin, and this was just the most beautiful, lightweight moisturizer for them. And I could not agree more. I adore this so much. I adore the birch sap because it is anti-inflammatory, and it also helps with redness, and it helps with hydration. It is beautiful. There's actually a study that was put out where they had 2 groups. They had a controlled group and another group, and they were doing birch sap testing. And basically they measured the lactic acid sting. There is a chart, like when you have lactic acid put on your skin, your level of sting that you get from it kind of correlates to your skin's sensitivity. So they took these people who all had this sensitivity that had a higher score of lactic acid sting, and they split them into 2 groups, and they used birch sap on one group and then not on the other group. And it was remarkable how much after a certain amount of time, how much their sting was lowered, because it's anti-inflammatory and it helps with skin sensitivity, and it helps with redness, and it helps with hydration. So I'm kind of like, you know, borderline about to dive down the rabbit hole of birch sap, but that's the key thing in the Boom Boom Milk that is delivering what I am seeing, which is hydration and just a lowered redness, a calming to the skin. And I don't know, I just love it so much. So that's the next step. This is when I move on to my pigment inhibitors. Now, sometimes though, I will say when this gets to be like 80% dry, I might throw in a little Tear SOS, a little COSRX. I might supplement this a little tiny bit with a hydrating serum. even though this isn't quite the serum step yet, that's just the art of skincare. That's just playing around because I can supplement this essence with a hydrating serum, okay? And I know that that can be a little bit confusing, but that's what I do. But the next step is actually pigment inhibitors for me. Now, if you didn't catch my video on pigment inhibitors, please do. I really do think that it is a crucial step. If you are over 40 years old, honestly, if you're younger than that too, but if you're over 40 years old, pigment inhibition is huge for your skin going forward. I really do believe that even if you are so blessed that you have not a single sunspot, there may be some in your future. Just because it's the nature of skin, we can end up with those things kind of rearing their ugly head later on down the line. So when I do my pigment inhibiting step, for me right now, it's the Platinum Fade Bright. I love this. Now I have this one in the pump because my actual smaller version that is 2 ounces, this is 4, is in my lost luggage. So luckily I had ordered this for my body, for my décolleté, my hands and my arms, because I am prepping for my peels that I'm going to do with you in the fall. So this is the pigment inhibiting step. Now I could use the undefined R&R serum. I could use the Cell Derma, the Pigment Correct serum. I could use the Queen 7-in-1 serum right now. I like to get the pigment inhibitors on my skin at this point because that is my #1 concern personally. Okay, so after that is our serums. This is where it gets really fun because you can just choose whatever you want. You can do targeted serums like vitamin C's. You could do copper peptides if you feel like doing copper peptides in the morning. You could do just hydrating serums. For me, it's typically hydrating serums, peptide serums, stuff like that. So this is when I might do my Tier SOS. This is when I might do the COSRX 6 peptide. This is when I might do the prequel. This is new to me, but dang, it is really beautiful. It is the multi-quench. You guys, I just got this recently and it's gorgeous. It's got a beautiful ingredient deck and it's affordable. And the packaging, I don't even know how Dr. Ellis does this because it looks high-end, it feels high-end, it is obviously formulated super well. Anyway, it's gorgeous, but it is new to me. But this is the point when I would put any of that stuff on. They're all kind of thin and they just soak into the skin, and I do it based on how my skin feels that day. So every single day I'm not doing exactly the same thing. I'm just kind of picking from 1 or 2 of those serums. Okay, next step is probably one of the most important steps for me, and that is DNA repair enzymes. Here is why. It is 3 different DNA repair enzymes, and what they do is they're supplementing the repair that we have already in our skin. We are constantly repairing DNA from damage. Now, the typical damage, the majority of the damage is from the sun. Okay, and when the sun damages our DNA, the result is typically hyperpigmentation. It is a loss of collagen and elastin that can result in fine lines, wrinkles, and sagging skin. And it is also skin cancer. So when it gets to a kind of mutation point, it can become skin cancer. All of those things are the result of damage to our DNA. DNA repair enzymes help to facilitate our skin repairing those damaged DNA strands so that we don't realize that damage. Now, the cool thing is not only can they help to prevent the damage that we are accruing every single day in the moment, but it can help to reverse damage that we have done in the past. It can help with reversing actinic keratosis, which may become skin cancer. It can help so that we don't ever realize and see the hyperpigmentation. It can help to brighten the skin. This particular formula encapsulates the DNA repair enzymes in liposomes. So that means that it has this fatty layer around the actual DNA repair enzymes so that they can penetrate into the skin, and only when they get to the cell, that cell has a certain pH that breaks down, and then the DNA repair enzymes are released and they're able to go to work. 100% scientifically backed that it works and it does the job that it's supposed to do. Now, right now, because I have all these other kind of layers and stuff, this is actually my daytime moisturizer right now too. So that's the step that is DNA repair, and it is also moisture because this is like a lightweight lotion. Okay, after that is SPF. Now, today I used the Rajani Age Defense. This is the SPF 45. I love this. It leaves like a silky kind of barrier or almost like a primer on my skin. I think it plays really, really well under makeup. Plus, it's not too dewy or too moisturizing since I'm putting it on over other layers. I have lots and lots of SPF. I'm kind of an SPF collector. I've collected it in Europe. I collect it here. I test a bunch of them. And sometimes if they're too moisturizing and you try to put it on over all of this other stuff, you just feel kind of gross. If you are somebody who likes a lot of layers, this particular SPF plays well over a lot of layers because it doesn't become gross at that point. Okay, so that is my morning routine. Now, the only other thing that I am doing religiously is I am using up this Tear. This is the Milk Skin Toner. I put this on my arms and on my décolleté if I remember, but I put it on my hands and my arms first, let it soak in. It takes down crepiness. It just hydrates the skin. That's what it's doing. It's like just giving your skin a shot of hydration. And then I am putting on my DNA Repair Enzyme Moisturizer. This is the Omega 36. It's almost like a balm moisturizer and it's gorgeous. It doesn't leave you feeling super sticky or anything like that. It's kind of silky balm. Anyway, I love it and I'm using this because, again, the amount of sun damage that I have collected, if you are concerned about crepiness in your arms, if you are concerned about hyperpigmentation on your arms, both of those things are huge concerns of mine. And the crepiness is a loss of elasticity. And so that often is a result of years of sun damage on a place where we just aren't very diligent with our SPF. That's all there is to it. So this is going to help with that because it's moisturizing your skin. It's full of all kinds of humectants. It's full of ceramides and omegas and all these things that your skin needs just to be nourished. But then it has the DNA repair in it to help with correcting old damage. I love it. It's huge. It's 8 ounces. It's great. Now I put this on. I let that just be for quite a while until my skin feels just almost like bare again. And then I will do a body SPF. And it really just depends on what part of me is showing. Obviously, if I'm wearing long sleeves, I'm not bothering with this on my arms, okay? If I am covering my décolleté, I'm really not bothering with SPF on my décolleté if I have clothes on over it. I'm just not. I probably should, but I'm not. But if I know that I am going to have any skin in my upper body exposed to UV, I will use a dedicated SPF for my body. And I've loved this one for years. I've recommended it for years. It's a Vino SPF 60. It's silky, it soaks in, it doesn't leave you sticky. I like it. And it's easy to get. You can get it on Amazon or whatever. I actually keep that on my desk because I like to reapply to my hands. I try really hard to correct the damage on my hands. Again, I am a person who collects hyperpigmentation, so I have to be extra diligent with all of this correction stuff and protection stuff. So that's my daytime routine. If you didn't see something in here, there's a chance I forgot to talk about it, or there's a chance I'm not using it right this second. We can only use so much every day. Anyway, I hope this answered some questions. I think if you're ever at a loss, always thinnest to thickest. That's the thing. So let me know down below if you have any questions. I will do my best to answer as best I can. Sometimes these videos bring questions that require almost like a full-on consultation, and there just isn't enough hours in the day, but I will do my best to help you with your specific skincare routine if I can. And I will certainly answer any questions about my routine if I can. And I hope that this was helpful. I will talk to you in my next skincare video. Take care.